I'm going to tell you something that might hurt, but it will set you free. Not every betrayal is accompanied by a lie, shouting, or a slammed door. Some betrayals come quietly with the words, "I didn't mean it." If you ignore them, your heart will be emptied from within. Now listen, we talk about love as if it's all about affection, compatibility, and loyalty in crucial moments. But true love is built or destroyed in small moments, in everyday choices, in someone appearing at the wrong time, in whether your pain is as important as your comfort. Here's the harsh truth. Some betrayals aren't accidental. Well, they're patterns, they're choices, they're messages about how much your feelings matter in the other person's life. I know what you're thinking, but I love them. It's true they had difficult childhoods, but nobody's perfect. What if I overreact? Let me say this with all the compassion in my heart. Love isn't proven by words. It's proven by actions that protect your dignity, your well-being, and your emotional truth. When someone crosses that line and tells you you're wrong, it's not rudeness. It's a desire to hurt. Today I'll mention 3 betrayals that shouldn't be ignored in love. Not because you're cruel, nor because you're undeserving, but because your heart isn't a punching bag for other people's unhealed wounds. And I promise you, if you learn about these betrayals early, you'll not only save your relationship, but you'll save yourself too. Let me say this slowly, because your nervous system needs to hear it. When someone ignores your pain, they're not just ignoring your feelings, they're betraying your humanity. This ignoring might seem like you're overreacting. It wasn't that big of a deal. You're always overthinking things. I didn't mean it that way. Why are you still upset? Have you heard what's going on there? They're not just protecting themselves, they're rewriting your emotional reality. And that's terrible, because love isn't about being right. It's about taking responsibility. Love says, I don't fully understand your pain, but I care enough to take it seriously. When someone constantly belittles your pain, they teach you a dangerous lesson, that your feelings are uncomfortable, your voice is a problem, and your inner world is something to be controlled, not celebrated. Over time, you begin to do their work for them, stopping talking about it and holding back your tears. You convince yourself that fighting isn't worth it. You start downplaying the truth to maintain peace. This isn't peace. It's self-destruction. Here's the research-backed truth. Ignoring your feelings is more damaging than the original pain. Why? Because you're not only hurting from what happened now, but also from continuing in this situation. A loving partner doesn't have to agree with your feelings to respect them, nor does they have to fully understand your pain. But if someone continues to choose comfort over healing and protecting their pride over protecting your heart, it's not a misunderstanding. It's betrayal. Don't ignore this. I want you to listen to your body. There's no such thing as an innocent lie in relationships. When someone lies to you, even about small things, they're not just distorting the truth. They're breaking down the bridge of trust between your hearts. It all starts with the little things. I forgot to tell you. I didn't think it would make a difference. I was trying to avoid trouble. If you had known, it would have hurt you. It seems logical, even wise, on the surface, but at its core, it's an attempt at control, fear. It's a silent decision to control your reality instead of relying on your own strength, because this is the reality of love. Love says, I trust you to tell the truth, even if it hurts. Betrayal says, I don't trust you enough to tell the truth, so I decide what you need to know. Every lie, no matter how small, teaches your nervous system a harsh lesson. You're not safe here. You start replaying the conversations in your mind. You start by going through the tables. You start looking for inconsistencies. You start going crazy because you want peace of mind. Then they say, why are you so scared? Why don't you trust me? But trust isn't built by searching. Trust is built by finding it again and again. That's the truth. Here's the beautiful part. When someone lies and you interpret the situation correctly, you're not only teaching them that lying is acceptable, but you're also teaching yourself that your need for honesty is too strong to resist. It's a subtle, slow wound. A partner who lies to avoid conflict prioritizes immediate comfort over long-term intimacy, and a partner who lies to protect themselves prioritizes their image over your well-being. Lying is commonplace. It's not a passing mistake, but a recurring behavior. And it's not just a mistake, but a profound betrayal, a betrayal of the truth. Love cannot endure without truth. I want you to feel this in your heart, not just hear it. Love is not tested in times of ease, but in times of hardship. If someone doesn't understand your pain, your fear, your sadness, your crisis, you're too busy. They're choosing where you fit in their life. This betrayal feels like saying, I didn't know it was this difficult. I thought you had it under control, and I'm devastated. I'm not good at dealing with emotions. Let me be very clear. No one is naturally good at expressing their feelings. When you love someone, you're considerate of their pain, not overwhelmed by it. When they get sick and suddenly disappear, when you're sad and they change the subject, when you break up and you say, let's talk about this later, and then finally find the courage to ask for support, only for them to emotionally vanish. This has a profound effect on your nervous system. Your body makes you feel alone in the relationship. It's a deeper wound than any argument. It's something people don't talk about. Having an unstable partner damages the connection. Not knowing if someone will be there for you keeps you constantly on edge. Even when things are going well, you start thinking about giving up. Then you begin to lower your expectations. You convince yourself that they're not that kind of person. You become strong and independent, and you don't need much. But you shouldn't feel that love is just a test of patience. A partner who only comes around when it suits them is not a secure partner. A partner who abandons you in times of hardship is not a reliable partner, and reliability in love isn't a choice. It's essential. If someone isn't there when your heart is broken, it's not a matter of timing. It's a betrayal, and it should never be ignored. Now let's talk about the side of things no one wants to admit publicly. We don't ignore this betrayal because we're stupid, but because we're afraid. Afraid of loneliness, afraid of starting over, afraid of admitting we did this to someone who can't love us the way our hearts deserve. So we make excuses that sound compassionate, but in reality, they only hurt ourselves. They didn't mean it from the bottom of their hearts. They're just stressed. They had a difficult childhood. They're trying to make it. At least they're not cheating. Did you hear how low that standard is? Here's the painful truth. When emotional infidelity is imprinted on your mind, your nervous system starts confusing chaos with connection. Your body becomes addicted to this cycle. The high-speed thrill is euphoric. The obstacles seem insurmountable. This paradox compels you to exert even greater effort for the sake of this broken love. It's not a romantic relationship, nor is it a painful bond. I say this with deep empathy, not to judge. Because most of us learned early on that love means enduring pain, that being loved means suppressing our needs, and that loyalty means staying by our side even at the cost of our dignity. So when someone ignores your pain, lies to you, or disappears when you need them most, your inner child isn't saying they're unwelcome. It's saying you feel normal. Familiarity is powerful. It gives you a sense of security, even if it's not a sense of belonging. You start to reevaluate your priorities, saying, if I treat them better, if I love them more, if I just wait for them, they'll change. But listen to me now. Yes. You can't love someone until they're emotionally mature. You can't sacrifice yourself to be chosen, and you can't fix a relationship just by putting in the effort. Ignoring betrayal doesn't make you loyal. It makes you invisible. And the longer you remain invisible, the harder it becomes to remember who you were before you saved your own soul. Let me tell you something no one has warned you about. The greatest harm from infidelity isn't what the other person does to you, but what you start doing to yourself afterward. When you stay in a relationship where your pain is ignored, your trust is broken, and your needs are neglected, you don't just lose trust in them. You lose confidence in yourself. You start doubting your intuition. You replay conversations from 2 a.m. and think you're imagining the pain. Your stomach tightens every time the phone rings. You brace yourself for disappointment, even on good days. Your nervous system goes into overdrive. Extreme caution becomes your new normal. Peace begins with a feeling of alienation. Tranquility seems unattainable, and so slowly it no longer truly matters. Your self-confidence erodes. You stop asking for what you need. You stop setting boundaries because they seem unattainable. You stop dreaming of a truly secure future. You lose control of your life. This is what betrayal truly teaches your body. That love is dangerous. That intimacy equals pain. Those needs are a burden. And that trust doesn't last in one relationship. It transfers to the next, and the next, and the next. And so, the unhealed wound of betrayal becomes a way of life. You start choosing indifferent people because it seems normal. You're confusing anxiety with chemistry. You call it chaos. You call it a waste of time. Then you ask yourself, why is this happening to me? It's not because you're flawed, but because your nervous system is trying to create something it knows how to survive with. But survival isn't life. You deserve a love that makes you feel safe, not a love that creates an emotional barrier. You deserve peace, not confusion. You deserve to accept the truth, not fear. Staying in a state of betrayal doesn't make you strong. It numbs your feelings. And numbness is the most expensive price you can pay in any relationship. Now, let me gently but firmly rebuild something in your mind. Because if you don't know what healthy love feels like, you won't be able to forget the betrayal. True love isn't dramatic or confusing. It's a constant test of your resilience. True love is a powerful feeling that resides within you. I'm sorry for hurting you. I want you to know that my feelings matter to me, even if I don't agree with them. I made a mistake, and I'm willing to make amends. I'm here. You don't have to face this alone. True love doesn't require excessive flattery, doesn't force you to constantly prove your worth, and doesn't punish you for needing it. This is a standard no one teaches us. Healthy partners aren't perfect, but they are responsible and speak the truth, even if it seems unpleasant to them. They take responsibility without blaming you. They stand by you in difficult times. They strive to improve things instead of making promises. They don't belittle you when you're hurting, as some people sometimes do. They don't mock you. They don't get away with it. Instead, they support you. They say, I see you. I hear you. I care about the impact this has had on you. Emotional security, intimacy. This is what builds trust. True love doesn't ask you to give up yourself to cling to someone else. It doesn't ask you to compromise your pride for the sake of friendship. It doesn't ask you to be weak, passive, or easily loved. If you feel anxious instead of calm, confused instead of secure, or lonely instead of alone, then this isn't deep love. It's a radical change. That's what might upset you a little. Just because someone has good intentions doesn't erase the pain they cause you. Just because someone loves you in their own way doesn't mean they're right for you.